Hello, everybody. Welcome to a new Juju live session. This time around about a polemic theme that I find very important and on fire and interesting, which is originals versus copycats in Egyptian dance. I would say originality versus copycats in every area, not only Egyptian dance. Because this is my area and it has always been my area, this is the territory that I know, this is what I'm going to tell you about. But I am pretty sure that what we're going to cover today in this live Q&A applies to different types of dance, different types of art. So it is pretty much covering every human creative activity. Now, before we launch this live Q&A, I am going to say hello to everybody who is passing by. Drop a comment, drop a hello, a hug. I always like to feel you on the other side, independently of having the questions selected to answer. I would love to know what you think about the subject. If you have a specific question about originality in Egyptian dance and the difference between copycats and originals, let me know all about it. And if you would like me to answer something, if I can, I will, as long as you share it in the comments below this live session, okay? So feel welcome to drop your comment and your question. And without further ado, we move forward with the session, okay? My name is Joana Saahirah, you already know that, but I always have to deliver the damn protocol. I'm a world-renowned Oriental dancer for the ones who don't know me yet. I'm a teacher, a creator, a choreographer, an author, a performer, and I'm also the creator, the founder of Joana Saahirah's World and Joana Saahirah's Online Dance School, delivering authentic Egyptian dance, personal discovery, and empowerment. We're doing a lot of great work. And I hope that if you haven't joined our platform and our school, you do soon. I am going to share, as usual, the link to our free and fabulous newsletter in the comments below this live session after we close the live session. Okay, so you're gonna have to stay, participate till the end, and then you can join our community if you are not a part of it yet. Now, we are going to start talking about the basics. As you already know from so many Juju live sessions I've shared, I always like to make sure that we know exactly what we're speaking about. So what is an original dancer and what is a copycat, right? What is the difference between these two concepts? What do we call an original Oriental dancer? What do we call a copycat? That's the first thing we got to do in order to understand the subject and to launch the subject, okay? So I'm going to give you, as usual, my own perspective. It is not the universal truth. It is my own perspective. If it makes sense, it does. If it doesn't, feel welcome to share your own perspective in the comments, okay? What is an original and what is a copycat? So let me answer this way, in a way that I hope will help everyone understand the subject a little bit better. As far as I see it, Egyptian dance is a language with a specific vocabulary, a specific set of unwritten rules, a specific set of mentality and cultural and historical assets around it, shaping it. What I mean by this is that there is a lot in Egyptian dance that all of us learn or should learn, and that's the same for everybody. So the base should be the same for everybody. I hear a Beled Yawadi. If you hear a Beled Yawadi and you tell me this is not a Beled Yawadi, this is a classical Egyptian musical piece, I will tell you you're wrong. This is a Beled Yawadi. That's a fact. It's history. It's a musical style. It's a dance style. It's a specific dynamic which people decided to call Beled Yawadi. It is not a tableau solo. It is not a classical piece. It is not Sha'abi. It is not Nubian dance. It is not Saidi. So there are facts and there are rules, vocabulary, knowledge that everyone more or less learns when they are learning Egyptian dance. All of us must come from this common ground, okay? All of us have that same base. The question of originality is, how certain dancers manage to use that common base and expand it and to make it their own, and others do not. Furthermore, how a lot of dancers will create their own lifestyle, their own dance style, their own teaching style, their own method style, method of teaching, method of writing, method of choreographing, method of doing whatever they do in their creative work. And others seem to be always lost and searching for references to follow and copy. So, as far as I have observed, let me revise it again. We all come from the same base. And I am presuming that all of us are studying Egyptian dance and we are studying it right. If we are, we all come with the same set of tools and rules. But some of us will develop their own style. Some of us will develop their own dance style. I repeat, teaching style, if you're a teacher, performing style. And many, I would say the majority, never creates anything unique. They learn the basis, they stay with the basis, and then they search for references they can copy. Either dancers they like, dancers who are considered successful for whatever reason, okay? And mind you, that success is not always a synonym of quality. I know a few really talented Oriental dancers who have not been successful the way we conceive success, Yani. They're not very well known. They haven't traveled the world. They haven't done those things that in our territory, in our area, we consider success. And then, nonetheless, they're very talented, more talented than dancers that we consider successful. But I'm not going to go there now, okay? So it is important to understand that there is a huge difference between the ones who dare to create their own thing, whatever that looks like, and the ones who say, you know what, I'm going to do what works for her. I'm going to do what works for him. I am going to steal this concept. I am going to copy the way she moves. I am going to copy the way she talks, even. Because I have seen copycats, including with myself, with me. I have witnessed people copying the way I talk. Not only the way I dance or the way I teach or my courses or my method, the way I talk, damn it. That's perverse, if you ask me. It's bizarre, but I have seen it. So an original is someone who has the guts to learn the basis that everybody learns and does her or his own thing, independently of how accepted that will be, independently of how many likes or how many followers or how many whatever bullshit that gathers them. A copycat will play safe and dirty. And this is a very personal opinion. I do think that copying other people's works and appropriating other people's works without acknowledging them, without asking for permission, is not only in some cases illegal, because there are author rights to be respected, but it is humiliating for the copycat. And it is very disrespectful. It's like a theft. It's like stealing, you know. Some dancers consider this normal, perhaps the ones who steal and copy and follow and try to do what others are doing and fish for information and fish for hints on what to do and how to do it. But I consider it dishonest, very humiliating for the person who steals, who copies, because what's basically saying is I am not good enough to create something of my own. I need to use other people's creativity and I need to mimic other people's identity in order to have some sort of attention or some sort of external success. That is very humiliating in my perspective, but it is what it is. A copycat will always be similar to somebody else, will always be following somebody else, will always be, as I said, fishing for what others are doing. I have witnessed, for instance, very well-known dancers coming into my school, okay, and telling me to my face, I came into your school to see how you do things and to take them for my work. They don't participate in the courses. They don't want to participate. They do not consider themselves my students because that's beneath them, but Some of them have the courage to tell me, I am here to steal from you and to use it in my work. I don't want anyone to know that I'm your student. I don't see myself as your student, but I am here to take whatever I can take. I cannot respect that. Okay. I have asked those dancers to leave the school. I have offered refunds for those cases because I don't think that's valid. I do think that all of us get inspired by each other. We learn from each other. That's very different from copying and stealing one's creative work. Okay. Now, why do dancers copy each other? That's the second question I have here. I have never been a dancer who copies other dancers. I've always been very much my own person, and I've always done my own thing. Too much for my for my interest, for my benefit, if you ask me. Because what it does, it's that it puts me a little bit in an ostracized place. So when you are deeply into who you are, and when you're doing your thing and you're not searching for others as guidance, that tends to isolate you. This has been my experience, but it is a kind of isolation that I welcome because it is creative, it is abundant, it is fertile. Now, why do dancers copy each other? I can only suppose why they copy each other. First of all, lack of self-confidence and lack of development of their own creativity. And here's a very big problem that we see in Egyptian dance. And I would say not only in Egyptian dance, in all areas: dance, music, literature, sculpture, painting, all creative areas and academic areas. I don't think students are trained to be creative. And when we speak about originality, don't forget that if you're not able, if you're not used to exploring and using your creativity, most likely you will not develop something of your own. And the problem is that that creativity is usually developed by teachers. And most teachers in our area don't develop the dancer's creativity. What do? They do a fancy choreography, usually a copy of somebody else, or pieces of choreographies from somebody else or from different dancers. That's what I see the most, even at the highest level. Okay. Pieces stolen from different choreographies, from different dancers, because there are also very big difference between good copycats and bad copycats, professional copycats and amateur copycats. Professional copycats steal, and they make you feel they're not stealing. They copy from other people's work and they make you feel they're not copying. Those are the professionals. The amateurs are very obvious. Okay. So what usually happens is that dancers will drop a choreography on your head. If you're lucky, those dancers / teachers will break down the choreography. They will tell you the moves. That's it. If you're very, very lucky, you will have a dancer, a teacher, who will teach you a choreography, break down the choreography, and perhaps give you a few hints about the music, musicality, a little bit about emotion, expression. Maybe. But rarely you have a teacher who creates space, time, and conditions for you to develop your creativity. That's very rare. Now, in my work at Joana Saahirah's Online Dance School, in my private coaching, in the work I've done around the world, dancers who have studied with me know they're always put in the hot spot. Always. What do I mean in the hot spot? You teach the basis to those dancers. You teach the information. You give them the tools. But as a teacher, I need to know when and how to stimulate their creativity and to put them in the hot spot so they are the ones thinking for their own head. They are the ones listening with their own ears. They are the ones moving from within. Because these are very, very different movements. I give something to my students and they follow. That's a very important part of teaching. But there is another parallel movement, which is rarely there, which is not, I tell you how to move, I tell you what to do, is I give you the tools And I asked you to do that thing alone from within. And the dancers get frightened, they get scared. No, tell me what to do. Give me a damn choreography, Joana, like everybody else. I say, I've already given you a choreography, honey. But now you show me what you can do with what you have learned. And of course, that is scary because we are afraid of failing. We are afraid of not being good enough. We are afraid of not being ready. We are afraid of messing up. We would rather have someone with a safety net telling us what to do. I know that. I am human. I'm a student. I've always been a student in different areas, not only dance. I know how scary it is when a teacher tells you, I've given you these tools. Now show me what you can do from within. I know that's scary for most of us. But if we want to talk about originality, and if we want to become original dancers, we have to develop that creativity. So the first thing I gotta tell you, from my heart, really, from my core, yani from my womb, okay, is find a teacher who knows how to develop your creativity, stimulate your creativity, and give you confidence in your creativity. Because without that, you will never do original anything. Okay? There is no other way around it. So why do dancers copy each other? I believe that most of the time it's because they're not trained for creativity. They're not trained, they're not educated to know they are creative, to know how to use their creativity, and to trust their creativity. Creativity, yani creation, always comes from within. Creativity is not, I'm going to check what that dancer is doing and I'm going to do it like her. And then I'm going to check what she's saying and I'm going to say it like her because it sounds cool. And then I'm going to see what she's writing and I'm going to copy it. Don't do that. Don't do that. That is beneath you and it is beneath our craft, the art that we claim to love so much. Develop your creativity. Find teachers who know how to flourish that creativity in you. Okay? The other reason why I think that dancers or most dancers will copy each other, quite honestly, it's because it's easier and safer. Being an original is never safe. You will find yourself alone many times. And suddenly people copy what they badmouthed, what they ignored, what they rejected, they are going to copy in a few years. I've seen it with myself. I've seen it with other colleagues of mine who are doing and have done incredible original work. First, they are criticized or they are ostracized. They are harmed. They are envied. They are ignored. And then they are copied. Few years later, 2, 3 years, 4, 5 maximum, you see everybody doing what they were doing back then. I've seen it with me and I've seen it with a couple excellent dancers in my field. Okay, so it is safer to be a copy. Why? Because you're always a copy of something that has already been accepted. We're not going to copy people that we don't consider successful, right? So dancers usually are going to copy someone they respect and someone they see as successful. They're not going to copy someone they disrespect or someone they consider a loser. They're going to copy someone who has something of their own. And that's safe. If she has done it and it's so damn cool on her, it will be cool on me. But creativity and identity and originality is a big question mark. You never know how people are going to receive this. You never know if it's going to work or not. You never know because it has never been done. It is not tested yet. You have no reference. You have absolutely no reference. I'm going to give you an example. At my school, at our school, Joana Saahirah's Online Dance School, we are finishing the first edition of Joana Saahirah's signature course. Okay, we are going to open the second edition very soon. So if you want to be in the waiting list for the second edition, I'm also going to drop the link for the waiting list when we finish this live session in the comments or in the description box below the video. Okay, check it out when we finish this. When I was preparing the first edition of Joana Saahirah's signature course, and this is a long-term training, bringing authentic Egyptian dance personal discovery and empowerment from the ABC, from the roots, from the beginners, with my method, with my original method, to intermediate level, advanced level, and professional level for the ones who want to go there, okay? And I knew that this was incredibly important because this was my signature course. What does it mean? This is my original teaching method. It's a synthesis of more than 20 years of work in this field in Egypt and around the world, with a very unique experience and perspective in the field. Very unique. So I knew that what I was going to do in my signature course, nobody else has ever done, and nobody else will ever do, because they're not me. And they don't have my experience. They don't have my perspective. They did not live what I have lived. They did not learn what I have learned the way I've learned it. And I knew it. I knew it. But there was a big question mark. How are students going to receive this? It has never been done. This method that I'm using, combining personal development with authentic Egyptian dance, geometry, visualization, creativity, self-awareness, polarities, so much personal work that I have done in my life that translated into my teaching method. So unique. I had no idea how this was going to work. Furthermore, in the first edition of the course, I knew I wanted to do a long-term formation. I was afraid people were going to quit. I would end up with no students because it was a very long training, and it has been a very long training. I did not know. It had never been done. So this is the danger and the excitement of originality that many dancers will not go for. They will not have the stamina, the strength, the courage, perhaps, to try something that is a big question mark. So they go for the safe thing. Whatever has been done and works, I'm going to copy, I'm going to do the same, and then it will work for me as well. This is why so many dancers prefer the copycat than the original. It is easier, it is safer, okay? Now, is it worth it? For some dancers, it's worth it business-wise because they do good money out of it. But from an artistic perspective and from a personal perspective, I don't believe those dancers are happy. Can you be happy copying someone's work? Can you feel at peace with yourself, knowing that what you're doing is not your voice, is not your message, is not you? You are emulating, you are stealing from the identity of other people. Can you sleep at night peacefully? Maybe people can. I don't know. I wouldn't be able to sleep at night, but I'm weird, you know. So it is easier. I don't think it's more interesting. I think it's poorer. From a personal point of view, copycats will never be as interesting as originals. And I do think that creativity and art should always be a question mark. Okay? We don't know how things are going to work. We don't know if they're going to be received or not, if they're going to be ignored. And it's fine. It's fine. When we think about the biggest artists of every area, think about Pablo Picasso, the father of modern painting, who in his later years was celebrated and respected, but when he started painting, he was ignored. He was a nobody. He had no money to eat. Okay? Do you think that Pablo Picasso was wondering, how can I paint in a way that I will be accepted? Let me check what my colleagues are doing and let me copy them. It's not going to happen like that. Creativity is courageous. Creativity is humble. Humble in the sense that we don't expect anything, right? I'm creating something from scratch. I have no idea how this is going to work. I have no idea. I give you another example. I just finished couple of months ago writing an ebook that I am now about to launch, the lessons I learned from the master, about Mahmoud Reza and the dance and live lessons I learned with them. We are going to launch it officially at the end of this month in August at our school, at our platform. And when I was writing that ebook, at some point I thought, oh my God, okay, I have to do this work. I have it in my heart. It's going to inspire so many dancers. It's going to be useful potentially life-changing for a lot of dancers. I gotta do it. I'm not sure it's gonna work. I put a lot of time and a lot of energy and a lot of my heart and resources into it because I run a business, I run a school, I run a career. Having the luxury of sitting down for hours day after day to write is a luxury. And I don't know if it's going to pay off, but I know in my heart this is something I got to do. This is an artist speaking. No book has ever been written about Mahmoud Reda like that, and no book has ever been written or will be written like that because nobody has that experience, the experience I had with him as his student, as his friend, as his granddaughter, as his creative partner. So it is a very unique perspective that I feel has to come out into the world. It is original, absolutely 1,000% original, but I don't know if it's going to work. You never know. You never know if all this effort, all these resources, all this work is going to pay off externally, but you do it anyway, and you do it from within. You don't look around to see how others are doing it, if they're doing it or not. You look within. That's the path of the artist, the creative dancer. You look within. You don't look around. What is she doing? What is he doing? Let me do what they're doing. That is not an artist. That is a smart ass. I think smart ass is the technical name. Guys, sorry, but my English is not very sharp today. So I'm going to use some tough words, but yeah, it is a smart ass strategy. Let me see what others are doing and I'm going to copy them because it's easier, it's safer. But I do not think it is the wisest or the most interesting thing to do. Okay. This is, as I said, my perspective, by the way. Okay. It is just my perspective. Now, what else? What do I gain by being an original dancer? I love this question. And I gotta be honest with you, okay? I gotta be honest. I think that in order to be an original dancer, once again, you need to have a very strong sense of identity. You cannot be addicted to followers and likes. You can't. Because if you are, you're not gonna take risks. You're gonna do something, whatever, to have more followers and likes, to have more people applauding you at any price. And that's not what an original dancer does, okay? We have to be courageous and able to stand by ourselves and say, I created this. It is original. It is amazing. I don't know how it's going to be received or if it's going to be received, but here it is. So it takes a lot of courage. And I don't know how many of us have that courage or are willing to go there, okay? What do you gain? First of all, you gain the possibility of a legacy. I don't mean people telling about your name and speaking about your name. That's not a legacy. I don't mean fame per se. I mean a legacy. You leave something behind that added something valuable to the craft. In other words, Egyptian dance has become better because of you, because of your work. Not because you are well known, because you are in this festival or in that festival, because you are in this interview or that interview, because you have this like or that dislike, because you have I don't know how many followers. That's not a legacy. People can buy followers. They can live and work for followers. That doesn't mean they are meaningful as teachers or artists. It doesn't. And I know that in this world, everything is very much mixed. We are confused. We're not sure what is success, what is legacy, what is fame. Everything is so confused and so mixed up. But an original dancer is able to leave a legacy, something of value behind that changes the craft and changes the way people do that craft. Another thing you gain by being an original dancer is priding yourself. And if you ask me, this is the most important thing. I mean, in the end of the day, it doesn't matter what you do. Your relationship with yourself is what defines success. If by external standards you're very successful, but you know you are fake, you know you are not an original, you know you're not delivering something extraordinary, you know you're not contributing, you know you're not leaving a mark, you know you are not yourself, I don't think your relationship with yourself will be good, will be positive. And if it's not, what kind of life is that? What kind of life is that, right? So when we talk about success and legacy and original work, we also talk about self-confidence and self-pride and self-worth. Me actually liking who I am and liking what I do and respecting what I do and seeing value in what I do, independently of how many people enjoy it, how many people like it, how many people do it, independently. I must be my own biggest fan. I must stay at night, go to bed and sleep like an angel, knowing that I've done my best work from within, from my guts. I did not appropriate anybody's work. I'm fine. at peace. I'm proud of myself. Okay. How do I become an original dancer? Another question here. How do I become an original dancer? I think I partially answered this question. There is a lot to be said about originality, and in my work and in my method, there are many tools that I use in order to develop the dancer's originality. This is true for the group courses, online and physical group courses, and it is particularly true for my private coaching journeys, where I have the opportunity to work face to face with a specific dancer, a specific person. And I'm not gonna tell you about my method and my tools. If you want to know them, you have to study with me, and that's it. I'm not gonna open up, but I'm gonna tell you this. First of all, you become an original dancer by getting that teacher I mentioned, the one that will develop your creativity, that will allow you to develop your creativity. You become an original dancer by developing your character and having shame on your face, which is something very out of fashion these days. People have no shame anymore. They don't feel shame anymore. It's a pity. I think shame has a purpose, It's good to feel shame. If I do something wrong, I should feel ashamed. I shouldn't feel good with myself. It's called consciousness, awareness of a mistake. It's important. I think that we need to have shame on our faces so that we know what is right, what is wrong, and we do our best to choose what is right. So instead of copying and appropriating other people's work, I do what is right. I go the extra mile and I do my best. I create my own original work, independently of how brilliant or average or mediocre it is. Okay. I also become an original dancer by knowing myself very well. And this is where the personal development work also comes in handy. When dancers ask me, Joana, but why do you work on Egyptian dance and personal development in such an interdependent way? Why you cannot separate those, right? Because I have students who come to me and tell me, I just want the choreography. I just want the choreography. Teach me a damn choreography. I don't want any personal work. Bullshit. And I told them, you know what? So you're not going to study with me. I'm going to give you the name of 50 teachers. They're going to teach you a choreography and send you home. I am not one of those teachers, because learning a choreography, learning technique, learning expression, learning emotional expression, learning musicality, it's all a part of a personal development process of getting to know yourself and integrating all that knowledge in your own system and making it your own and experiencing it from within in your own way. So knowing yourself, self-awareness, knowing what you stand for, knowing your emotions, knowing how you react to a certain music, knowing your body, knowing your mind, how your mind works, all of that personal development work will help you to become an original dancer, because you have to know the creative tool. If I don't know the creative tool, and the creative tool is me, I'm not gonna be a master with that creative tool. You have to know your tool. You have to know yourself. And once you know the tool, you can work with that tool. You can create something of original with that tool, but not if you ignore that tool. I don't know if you're following me. I think you are. I think you are. Who are the original dancers and who are the copycats? I'm going to leave this one for the end. Ba 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 ba. One more question I have selected. How do I know it if I'm watching an original or a copycat? This is an excellent question, and I must admit, difficult to answer, okay? Why? Why? As I've already mentioned, there are amateur copycats and professional copycats. Some professional copycats will steal so masterfully, you don't notice they have stolen. You think, how original! They're doing their own thing. No, they're not. No, they're not. And I know a lot like that, okay? Very well-known teachers whom I've met and known for many years since I started my career in Egypt. You see, original, that's not original. This comes from this person, that comes from that person, and that comes from that person. But they make it in a way that makes it look like they made it, they created it, it's coming from them. So that's what I call the professional copycat. And although it is visible, I mean, if you are a trained dancer and if you are the people they are copying from, you know, you just know. I know who these people is trying to emulate, right? I know whom they are taking from. But if you don't know the references, if you don't have enough experience, you will be fooled and you will be tricked into thinking, wow, this is original. They're doing their own thing. Now, the most obvious copycats, the amateur copycats, they will usually be very, very much on your face. So they will go into the details of copying a dancer's face expressions. They will copy their tricks. They will copy their addictions, their tendencies, their cliches. It's a question of being more or less obvious. But when you are in the presence of an original dancer, you are always moved. If I had to say what is the biggest difference between a copycat dancer and an original dancer is the copycat does not move you. They may impress you depending on how much knowledge you have, right? They may impress you, the moves, the turns, la la la, but they don't move you from within. They don't give you goosebumps. They don't move you. Nothing changes within when you watch them perform or when you study with them. An original moves you. An original will move you to tears, will move you to laughter, will give you goosebumps, will make you rethink, what am I doing? How am I doing it? What do I want to do with my dance? What do I want to do with myself, with my life? They are going to shake the water, the originals. That for me would be the biggest difference. And if you want to know the difference, if you want to know how to identify the difference between a copycat and an original, educate yourself. Educate yourself and become experienced, because with education and experience, you know exactly when you're watching a copycat or an original. In a matter of few seconds, you already know. This comes with experience, with knowledge, with references. Okay? Now, who are the original dancers and who are the copycats? This question was sent to me by one of our dancers at the school. And my students and anyone who has worked with me, they know that I live and I work with very clear ethical values. One of those ethical values is never bad mouthing anyone. When I dislike someone, a dancer, an example, I use their example, I generalize, and I use their story and their message to make a point. But I never will say fulana this or fulana that sucks, does this, does that, because that's called gossip. It's called bad mouthing, and it's not what I stand for. So when dancers ask me, but who are the copycats? They're searching for dirt. They're searching for a fire in the circus. I'm not going to buy into that, but I'm going to tell you this. First of all, learn from the great and ignore the mediocre. Second, the copycats once again, are the ones who are perpetuating formulas that work, that are trends, that are in the movement, in the tide nowadays, that gather them fame, that gather them followers, that gather them likes, independently of the quality of what they're doing. They're not concerned about quality. They're concerned about money, fame, status, prestige, people talking about them, followers and likes. That's it. Originals, the original dancers, and there are a few, I know a few excellent original dancers. Excellent. They are carving their own path. They're usually very independent, very much their own person. They think for their own head, and they're not afraid to be liked or disliked, and they don't work to be liked or disliked. They work from their soul. And once again, they're usually the ones who leave a legacy. They're usually the ones who expand the craft, who leave it better than it was before they existed. Now, if you want to discuss names, it's not going to happen with me. So what I am going to do, guys, once again, and these were the questions that I had shared with my community and the questions I promised to answer. If you have a feedback, an experience, a question I have not answered, please feel welcome to share them in the comments below this video. Even after I have closed it, you can always drop a comment below the recorded session, and I promise to answer if I know the answer. And last but not least, I am going to invite you to join the second edition of our signature course. Actually, for now, you can only join the waiting list, and there will be a limit of students for the second edition. So I am going to inform the waiting list first. The students who are in the waiting list are the first ones to know about the pre-sale, the pre-launch, and we have a limit of students for each edition, and for this edition as well, because I want to make sure I can be present for my students. I want to make sure this will be a life-changing experience for my students. I have no interest in having this huge mass of people that I have no contact with. This is not the way I work. So if you want to be on the waiting list for the second edition of Joana Saahirah's signature course, Authentic Egyptian Dance and Personal Empowerment from the ABC to Advanced Level and Professional, for the ones who want to go for it, find the link to join the waiting list, either in the comments below this video or in the description box below the video. The same thing applies to our newsletter. If you are not a part of it and you want to be the first to know about our news, our gifts, our new courses, our inspirations, little somethings, little goodies that I offer my people, feel welcome to join our free and fabulous newsletter. Once again, link in the comments or in the box description below this video. This is it for now. I am going to say bye, see you soon, and dance with you soon. And don't forget, consider originality. Yes, it's a lot more work. Yes, it's not guaranteed. Yes, it's a big question mark. But this is what creative folks do, and you are creative. Everybody is creative. There is no such a thing as an uncreative person. I've never met one, and I've met a lot of dancers in my life, okay? So don't let anyone convince you you are not creative, and therefore you can only copy others and be a shadow of someone. That is not true. That is not true, I assure you, okay? A big kiss, see you, and dance with you soon. Mwah.